and then let it go. And I've got to fix that in the back there where his guts are not attached very well. Yeah, I'm not very good at weight painting. Something I should learn one of these days. Okay, so we're going to apply a TF2 sequence file to a different model. Let's see if we can explain how that's done. First thing you're going to do is you're going to decompile your TF2. Oh, this is Half-Life. Let's see if I can get back there. So under TF or TF movies, I think I did TF movies, but under TF, you're going to look in your models and your player, and it's under HWM, and you would pick, say, for instance, engineer, and you would decompile that, and you could also decompile the animations, which are in a different directory, but you don't need to do that for it to work. So you'll decompile your engineer and your engineer animations, and then you're done with Crowbar for a little while. Also decompile your SFM, whatever you're going to use. Now, I did not use an SFM. I had a Blender model of SPRINGTRAP, and I went ahead and put them into SFM just for the heck of it for this tutorial. We are going to see what we can do. So you bring in your, say he's Bendy or whatever, but in my case it's going to be SPRINGTRAP, and he has his mesh and a bunch of other things that I had to get right. So then you're going to import the SMD of engineer. And what you want to make sure you do is to change this bone append to target to make new armature. The axis, up axis, is, depending if you use the QC file, it's ignored. So if you don't, then you can do what I'm going to do, which is to find engineer here, if I can. Let's see, where am I? Bendy mods, Bendy mods, Bendy mods. Okay, so engineer, and I don't want to use the QC file. I'm just going to use the reference SMD. And when he comes in, he is going to be El Hugo compared to my other model, which is pretty typical. So what you need to do is scale him to the size of engineer. You're going to make sure that both his mesh and his skeleton are selected for this. So boop, 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 boop. Whenever you can figure out how to do that. Oh, it's because I'm here. Here we go. There's that. There's that. And then you hit S for scale, and whee, make him bigger. And of course, I wasn't zoomed out, so I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. All right, now he's a little too big. Bingy, bingy, bingy. Scale him down until he roughly is close to the size we want. And it takes a little getting. There. Okay, as you can see, he does not line up that well. But his hands and stuff aren't too horrible. So then what you're going to want to do, if you can, and this is the tricky part, is you're going to pose his skeleton to be as close to engineer's skeleton as you can. Also, I feel like he needs to tilt back here a little bit. And I'm trying to line those up a little better. And maybe a little too far. Gosh. All right. Can't do that very good. Okay. So then pose each of SPRINGTRAPs to get close to where we're going here. And that part's probably okay. Now, the issue is sometimes you can't tell which ones SPRINGTRAPs are and which ones they are. So sometimes I think you just got to like, man, I'm sure you could recolor them or something, but anyway, his hand's way down here and engineer's is way up here. So that ought to be interesting. But we'll get it as close as we can for now. And then you could actually turn off the skeleton so you could see where your skeleton is. but whether that's a good idea or not, I don't know. And it works eventually. We'll see how this works. So it's getting close. I don't want to rescale any of his. This ought to be interesting. Sometimes it's easier than others, and I'll tell you, I don't think there's an exact science to it. So he's roughly there, and that's good and all. Now if I can remember what I do to get rid of the one skeleton and apply the other skeleton to him, that'll be doo-doo-doo-doo. Sequence, 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 import sequence. I want him to do what? And you can do the conga. Open. And click. Watch out, here comes the other ink, Bendy! I'll try to pick up where I left off in a part 2. If you have questions or if you start to try to do it and you run into trouble, just leave a message and I'll try to get back to you.